Is there a recession possibly on the loom? I know there's a lot of fear out there in the market right now, so I don't want to add more to that kind of energy here right now. So let's take a step back from this and let's take a look at exactly what it is that we could be expecting over the next course of 12 to 18 months, and anything prior to that. But my friends, always a rule in crypto, especially in Bitcoin: when in doubt, zoom out. Welcome back to the Crypto Bliss channel and community. Thank you for being here with me today. I truly appreciate you very much. Been doing some crazy videos for you over the last few days. Make sure you are subscribed to the Crypto Bliss community. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button right there and hitting that notification bell so that you know when I do videos like this for you, because I know that about 75% of the viewers that are watching this channel are not yet subscribed. So let's delve right in. So as you can see, there are about 58 million plus fiat millionaires and only 21 million Bitcoin in total supply. How will the scarcity impact Bitcoin's value in the future? Most millionaires will never own one Bitcoin. I hope this is going to come to you as a very serious matter here, my friends, because if you are not a millionaire, okay, then how do you expect to get one Bitcoin when these 58 millionaires, probably the majority of them, are going to try and get one Bitcoin over the next couple years? All right. Now, the supply is absolutely limited. The demand is increasing. This year alone, I think we've seen something like 500,000 Bitcoin that have been taken off the table. I don't know if you know really what is going on in the background while you sit there twiddling your thumbs. Because as you can see here, this is the top change by stablecoin transfer volume in the last 30 days. And this is from April 11th, so yesterday. Ethereum hit a $1.18 trillion transfer in stablecoins. Mantle 57 billion, BNB 108 billion, Base 600 billion, Polygon 140, Tron 600 billion, Solana 200 billion, Arbitrum 61, and Subi 52. So now I have to point something out here for you, right? Yes, this is the biggest. So essentially the potential growth ability is far than something like a Subi or a Mantle or an Arbitrum, right? So keep that in mind when you are thinking about how money comes in and out of these projects, using these projects as the fee or transactional fees in trading stablecoins. Critically important, because the volume that is starting to pick up in here, and if Ethereum is 1.18 trillion, if we add all of the rest of it, we're probably looking at about 2.5 trillion, close to $2.5 trillion in transactional stable coins across just these chains, let alone Bitcoin, let alone USDT, let alone USDC, let alone all of the others that are out there. Okay, I don't think you quite understand how much liquidity is coming in and out, but the amount of liquidity that is about to flow into crypto, this is going to take you to a whole new realm. So make sure you stay tuned. Michael Saylor posted a chart on X showing a 92% return over the last year. Tesla is 44, gold is 36, Nvidia is 22, BTC is 20, Apple 13, Meta. Look at how many of the big seven are actually down. 3 of the big 7 are down. MicroStrategy has been outperforming all other assets this year because they converted their Bitcoin strategy, which actually took place like from a couple of years ago already, which means that we're just sitting, we're just chilling, we're just talking, and we're just having fun here. So if you own MicroStrategy, you're up 92% on your money already. Okay. Now the Bitcoin adoption path. Bullish Bitcoin is 3% adoption in 2025. This is equivalent to social media users in 2005 or the internet users in 1990. It's still early. So Bitcoin has had 3% of the world's adoption taking place here. Bitcoin in 25, online banking to 96, social media 5, internet 99. This is all the way down here. When we get to 100% adoption, my friends, I don't know how much Bitcoin is going to be left for you if you have not yet accumulated any Bitcoin at this point. So I plead with you today, why have you not yet bought some Bitcoin? Okay, buy some Bitcoin, get yourself up to $30,000 deposit bonus, buy yourself some Bitcoin, buy yourself some crypto. This is amazing. We're hovering around. Bitcoin loves to hover around. Now, if you recall, my trade was down, what? I think $60 over here. We're now only down $9. So we've already come from here. And that's why I said, buy. My friends, I should have actually bought some more there. Okay. Squeezing my buying price a little bit lower. Look at the Bollinger. We're coming up to the Bollinger here. We're finding a level. We're getting ready to break up. And generally what happens when you get bullish on the Bollinger, you tend to ride up the Bollinger to the upside. Now, previously I said to you the other day, it's very likely we need to get up here to the 90K level to start, hover around here a little bit, and then probably punch right back up to this 100K level. Now, because the 100K level is a bit of a psychological level still for people. So it is what it is. Use my buyback link down below. Get yourself up to $30,000 deposit, and let's go and trade together. Inside fees for buying one Bitcoin across exchanges. Do any of these prices surprise you? I have spoken to you previously about Hype Liquid on my channel. Right there, as you can see, a number of times I have spoken to you about Hype Liquid. Why is this important? Well, Thor Swap, to buy one whole Bitcoin costs you about $546. On Kraken, it's about $330. Coinbase, $330. Uniswap, $247. Chainflip, $124. Bybit cost you $182. Binance, about $82. OKX, about $82. So those three are aligned. And then guess what? Hype Liquid, to buy a whole BTC will cost you about just under $25. And a Bitcoin costs about nearly $88,000, $84,000, $85,000 today. That's unheard of. I don't think you quite realize truly how important it is to, gain more. By buying here, you would save about, meaning you could take that surplus cash, deploy it back into Bitcoin, and have more Satoshi. So maybe you got whatever, 1.01 Bitcoin. I don't know, whatever that would end up being. But at the end of the day, you're going to struggle, because Polymarket users project a 4% chance that Bitcoin hits a 1 million in 2025. Do you think BTC will reach 1 million? So 4% chance that it'll reach 1 million in 2025. I personally don't quite agree with that. I reckon we probably a lot more up here in this region. Interesting, there's no 300K around here. I think we're gonna be. Look at all of that. That's a high percentage here. That's almost 100% chance that we're essentially going to hit 150K. It's maybe a 30-40% chance we're going to hit that. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear, because the evidence I'm about to show you is going to actually give you the clues. So buckle up, because the Bitcoin power cycle curve, the Bitcoin in red line, the power curve is the blue. The 4-year cycles min-max is the cloud, and the power curve is where's the power curve? There's the power curve. These dotted. Now, very interesting, right? 2026, right here, 2026. Look at what this is telling us. Right up into 2026 is essentially where we're going to have the money flow. I always said that our market peak would come around October. So this is looking for somewhere around this area. But then look, we get another beast mode up here all the way to this point. Now, my price that I just showed you was about I've been talking to you about is about 300K. Look at how perfect that comes up to that 300K. I don't know. I got no clue. But you can see that I've shown you certain things that perhaps determine will ever come back below this 180 to 100K ever again. And clearly this chart is telling us, that yes, possibly we could come back down to like 70, 80K right there. But really, because here's the 4-year mean. If you look at the 4-year mean, it just bounces off the 100 over here, and then it starts its trend back up. And that goes the whole year of 2026 is expected to pull back, become a bear market? Guys, I don't know. You don't know either. But the point is that I'm here with you every day doing these videos, or as often as I possibly could. You've got other YouTubers that are doing videos for you. You've got an incredible journey ahead of you that is going to show you how much liquidity and capital you can make and use that to improve on your life. Now, the most important thing that you can see here is the Bitcoin price is all the way teensy weensy down over here. We're literally chilling. We have so much room for growth over the rest of this year. Okay, and we're starting to make that turn up. I'm going to show you my charts in a moment, so stay tuned. Honestly, guys, at the moment, really, we truly are finding ourselves in a peculiar position, right? And this is why I need you to be very, very intelligent about your next move. Your next moves with Bitcoin literally on the rainbow chart, chilling just above the accumulate position, still in the still cheap position. We have yet to even get back up. Once it starts probably breaking up about 120K, I would say, at that point, probably a good time to just hodl a little bit. If you're a micro strategy, you're buying on the way up and you're buying on the way down. So you don't care, okay? I don't know what your strategy is, but if you're trading it is completely different to investing in. Investing, you're probably just buying like Michael Saylor does the time, okay? But a really, really good smart, and you are doing that is because they want to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. Now, I would want to do the same, but that will all be based on liquidity and timing of your buys, right? So if you see here, a smart investor would essentially buy here if they had this tool, buy here, take profits there, buy here. Now, the problem with that, with Bitcoin specifically, not necessarily all the other assets, but Bitcoin specifically, you can see that this bottom down here is a lot higher than this bottom down here, and same with where we are today. And it will continue to increase, okay, as we go along. Now, the highs get higher, the lows get higher, which means that you will never be able to buy Bitcoin back at those cycle lows. Nor will you ever be able to buy Bitcoin probably back down here in the 15K level, okay? This is unlikely it's ever going to go there again. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because Mr. Michael Saylor strategy is so important, right? Because at the end of the day, literally, the bottom is the best place to buy and the top is the best place to sell if you're trading. And if you're using my Bybit link down below to do that, cool. If you're buying Bitcoin on these exchanges and removing it and taking it onto your cold storage wallet, that is the best solution for you. Never sell your Bitcoin. Now, this is very interesting, right? It is a Bitcoin season. Altcoin season, we have not even had. The last time we saw the altcoin potential season literally was for a second in December, okay? The altcoins are absolutely bleeding to death. They are in a stand very cautiously and very carefully. We are at, okay, one of the lowest points we have been in all of these cycles, okay? You can see there's much lower, all the way down here at -7, or at 7, okay? In fact, where are we? Yeah, there you go. What's that? Is that yeah, it is a -7, okay? And right now we're sitting on a 14, okay? This means that this is a fucking phenomenal opportunity to buy the altcoins. Load up on your bag, your altcoin bags. And the reason is because the move from here back up to will determine the growth of your Bitcoin bags. Okay, right now you want to gain this opportunity that is about to come into altcoin season. Let it hover around there a little bit, and when it starts coming back towards the blue altcoin season line here, where it comes into neutral territory in the middle, that'll be your opportunity to take as much money off the table, sell it into of your altcoins, sell it into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, stable coins. That's all you will want at the end of this peak in this cycle. Okay, you do not want anything else. Okay, and I'm saying that even though the cycle is somewhat a little bit different to others, the real truth is that it's done better than anything else. Okay, and it will do because it is limited supply, high demand, institutions are buying it. So yes, the cycle is somewhat different. Now, you can see here that a US recession in 2025 has a 60% chance according to Polymarket. That's a 41% increase, okay, since down here. Just at the end of March, we now have a 60% chance. Not only that, okay, the Fed decision in May, apparently there will be no change. Apparently there could be 25 basis points. Apparently 50 basis points decrease is only 4%. Have a look at those numbers, okay? I don't know. Most people don't believe we're going to get a change. I think, as stubborn as Jerome Powell is at this point, I believe that we will get a change. I think it will be a 25 basis points scenario. And you can see here that the no change and the 25 basis points are starting to invert. So come back, not revert, and come back towards one another. I believe that we'll see an increase over the next short moment. Okay, May 7th is my birthday, so I have no idea that we are about to see, as at the 7th of May, when the Fed decision, they're going to do it. I don't think you understand this. They are going to do it. Okay, I don't have a genie in a bottle, but I'm telling you, if you look at the data and where we're at right now, the market liquidity on the 7th of May, 2025 will absolutely rip it to the North Star. Okay. Now, the very cool thing about Bitcoin right now is that this downsloping trend here, this falling wedge pattern that we've been developing, bounce off the bottom, bounce off the bottom, bounce off the bottom. Look at the lower lows. Look at the higher highs on the MACDs. Okay. Now, most importantly, have a close squiz here. We're under the blue line, the 200 moving average. We've broken back up above the 20 EMA, okay? The 20 EMA is the red line. Sometimes you zoom in, sometimes you zoom out, okay? It's broken yesterday's candle. 1, closed above my horizontal line here. 2, closed above the 20 moving average, which means we very likely need to at least pull back up to the 50 moving average, which is this orange line here, which is sitting at $85,500, okay? But we need to bounce off of this zone right here. So I have no doubt, because the 200 is at 85,000, that the 50 and the 200 will kind of bounce off of this zone right here. So what I see is perhaps us coming up here, having a little bit of a bounce, a retest. We could even pull back all the way down, back to 80K, okay? Anything can happen, my friends. Look at the liquidity index here. It's telling us that we will see some sort of rejection at this point and a deep pullback once again. It could even come all the way back down to 78, even all the way back down to 75K. I'm not sure, okay? But what I can tell you is that generally the rule of thumb would be hit the resistance, make a pullback somewhere around this area, okay? And then bounce back up, break up above the 50, hit the 20, pull back into the 50 and the 20, then make a breakout, because at this point, remember, the 200 moving average is the 200 moving average is probably going to start to do something like this, okay? Now, what you can see is that once these do something like this, the 50 moving, all right, and the 100 moving average, probably something like that, okay? And that's why you can see here how this starts to become affected. This starts to pull up like this, okay? Giving us that major support there. Now, this is the likelihood of how the moving averages do if we start to break up. You can see all of the levels of resistance in this zone that we are about to come to. Now, you need to recognize that, okay? Because we will probably do a little bit of this up and down shit here, okay? And once we do get a clear breakout of the 200, breakout here, retest back here because of the resistance at the 100, and a breakout of the 100, we are set for the moon. And isn't it so fucking ironic that at the bottom point is where I'm drawing this level that we break out of properly, but the real liquidity starts to flow in from the 7th of May. And look at that timing that we can possibly be expecting over the short-term time frame. Right now, MACD pulling up, the stochastic coming to a little bit of overheated point, okay? So I would expect us to bounce a little bit. I'm going to leave this for you for the next few days. The one thing that I need to show you about the S&P 500 here right now is the S&P 500 it's looking scary, I have to tell you. But we've 1.8, which for me is actually a very clear sign, okay, that we could pull back up into the 200 and the 50, possibly sit around this zone. So here, so pull up, crash, bounce up, get the same kind of momentum as Bitcoin. And isn't it ironically that on this instance with the stock market, this is where Bitcoin starts to decouple, because Bitcoin's rise starts from the 7th of May, right? So there's the liquidity on the 7th of May that gives us this rise here. It doesn't say anything in Bitcoin, okay, about after 7th having a very big crash like we're expecting on the S&P 500, right? Which means that Bitcoin from the 7th of May 2025 will very likely decouple from the stock market. I can tell you that right now because the data is telling me that. And I'm only looking at the data. I'm not looking at all the noise around it, okay? Because here, only on the 25th of June does more liquidity start to come into the S&P 500. Now, I have no doubt that the S&P 500 and Bitcoin will bolster the global liquidity together, and each respective market will take some of the influx and bazooka tsunami liquidity that is about to come into the space. Why is that so significant to you, my friend? Well, the total crypto market cap doing the same thing as Bitcoin. Total crypto market cap is getting ready to ironically break out, pull back, retest, break up. When is that time? The 7th of May. This is what I'm telling you. Okay. Sure. The evidence is clear. Okay. Now, the problem that I'm seeing here is that the US debt clocks, all of the debt clocks, the US national debt, China at 16 trillion. This cannot carry on for long, guys. The public debt to GDP ratios, look at all of them. And this is let alone probably inclusive of the tariff pumps that have been going back and forth between China and the US. I mean, US went 145%, China went 125%. Before you know it, these people are going to be at 1,000% tariffs. They're not going to be able to trade between each other, which stocks like Apple could be fucked because the majority of Apple phones are made with fucking child slave labor in China. Okay, I don't know. That was just a little bit extreme, but okay, it all happens in China. Some of the chips come from Korea. Some of the stuff, the technology comes from Japan. I don't know, but the point is that in order for these iPhones to be taken out of China back into US, geez, guys, an iPhone today costs, I mean, this I just got, cost in South African rands about 30,000 rand. It's call it about just under $2,000, okay? It's about $2,000 for a fucking cell phone. Are you mad? You can buy an insanely incredible computer for that price, but yet they want to charge $2,000 for a cell phone. And this is what I mean. If that's going to happen, that, my friends, is going to be a compounded effect of what's happening. And hence why Apple stocks are busy fucking crashing, okay? Because we are literally going to see Apple phones go from $2,000 to $5,000 overnight. I don't think you realize the impact that these tariffs will have on the global market's ability to have these resources available to them at affordable prices. Because, of course, the two biggest markets in the world are going head and head playing chicken with one another, and the rest of the world has to take the flack and slack from that bullshit. So the worst economy right now is the Japanese economy with a 289% debt to GDP ratio. We're looking just disgusting with what's happening out there in the world. And so all I have to say to you right now, my friends, is honestly, the money printers will be turned on. The interest rates will be lowered. Jobs, employment in American economy will increase. The sounds of the recession ringing, I'm sorry, but even Mr. BlackRock said so himself. We are possibly going to have an announcement of a recession. My friends, we've already been in a fucking recession for some time. Look at this, okay? The market already, and as you know, classifies a 20% dip. There you go, 21%, okay? The recession started happening on 7th of April, okay? But it's not going to last for long because the Fed cannot hold this market down any longer. And because of that, they will have to come together and relieve the global economy by this insane tsunami liquidity about to come in. Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars will be flowing into crypto. And you can see that by way of the liquidity index about to pump. Look how much the global liquidity index went from down here. Where's it? Where's COVID? There. From COVID all the way up to there. Okay, literally down to the bottom of the market. Do you think we're going to see the same thing right now? Have a look at this, my friends. The global liquidity index could absolutely soar through and bring in tens of trillions into the crypto space over the next couple of years. Now, the one thing why altcoins are taking a beating is because Bitcoin is rallying. Bitcoin is currently sitting at a 63.54% on the dominance chart. Now, very interesting. The majority of the resistance is all the way up here at 72%, my friends, which means altcoins could continue to bleed, to suffer, to die because dominance keeps creeping up. Now, the very interesting thing here is that it's broken out of this very long-term downtrend resistance area. Does it pull back and bounce up, or does it pull back and break through? That's the question we will have to find out. But if you want to know more and you want to find out more about that, then you best be subscribing to the CryptoBliss community, because I will continue to do videos like this for you, sharing and showing you the clues, the sneak peeks, the indicators that are going to give you a direction forward. Now, the last thing that I do want to share with you is that I asked ChatGPT, okay, where are we going in India, China, Russia, US? Biggest economies in the world, all coming down. GBP, Deutsch, all going up. The world sitting sideways, okay? Now, the interesting fact about this is that we have GDP, global GDP at 3.3% for 25 and 26, okay? We're slightly below the 2000 to 2019 average of 3.7, which means they're going to pump. They have to get it back up. They have to get the global GDP back up, okay? World Bank, there are geopolitical risks. There are so many things that are indicating to us that the money printers literally are about to turn on. So make sure to subscribe to CryptoBliss. Check out my videos here. I will leave them pinned in the cards above for you. And thank you for being here with me once again. I truly appreciate you, and we will see you on the next one.